Welcome back to another episode of Depression, Bipolar, and Anxiety, Living as a Latter-day Saint. How do you measure your value? There's a story told of an ancient mirror, and I thought that I would retell it today. This mirror was unique. It had the ability to show one's nature and character. People would come from great distances to stand in front of the mirror just to see what it would show them. One day, a great leader who was nearing the end of his life decided he would visit the mirror as part of his legacy. No doubt he thought this mirror would show exactly who he was and would honor his accomplishments. He made a great deal of it and came with a host of his followers and those who adored him. The mirror sat in a small room that had only room for just a few people. This leader felt that just would not do. He wanted it set into the open courtyard so all could see what the mirror would say. The request was made of the caretaker, and the caretaker paused for a moment. "I don't think that you understand the design of the mirror," the caretaker said. The leader protested, saying, "I know what I'm doing. Just move it to the courtyard." The caretaker slowly shook his head and said, "You know that this mirror measures the heart, not the head." The leader ignored the statement. "Just put it in the courtyard." The caretaker paused again, and shaking his head again a little, he made arrangements for the mirror to be in the courtyard as desired. The mirror was moved to the courtyard, in the view of everyone. A great multitude arrived, those who loved this teacher and, of course, the curious. After a lengthy speech and even a longer discussion of his accomplishments, the leader arose, and silence ensued as he approached the mirror. Once in front of the mirror, a blurry picture slowly emerged out of the dark. It was of a poor-looking shack that had been neglected and poorly maintained. An old, crinkled man emerged from the shack, as poorly maintained as the home. He was thin and ragged, resembled the leader. As the mirror moved towards the shack and revealed the inner contents of the humble home, it was as disheveled as the man. The land surrounding the home was terribly maintained. The leader was confused. What did it mean? He turned to the caretaker. "What is wrong with this thing? What am I seeing?" The caretaker arose from his seat and walked to the mirror, with the shack and the overgrown land visible. "What do you see?" stated the caretaker. The leader looked confused. "Well, you know what I see. It's as plain as day. What does it mean? And why am I seeing this?" The caretaker didn't answer, but searched in the audience. The caretaker motioned towards someone in the audience. A woman stood. She appeared a little confused, but walked towards the courtyard center. One can tell that this woman had passed through some difficult times in her life. She walked slowly, methodically, with her head towards the ground, until she was in front of the mirror. When she arrived at the mirror, the scene then changed. The mirror showed a beautiful valley full of flowering plants and fruit. Thousands of people appeared to be walking about, enjoying the afternoon. Now, in the heart of this valley was a large mansion, beautifully decorated and full of people. This young woman was in the mansion, and she had a beautiful crown. And beside her was a man she didn't know. The leader was thoroughly confused. What does it mean? And who is this woman? Why? He asked. The caretaker turned to the woman, whose head was bowed and appeared to be a little embarrassed. He then turned to the leader. "What do you see?" "What do you mean?" the leader retorted. "Tell me what you see," the caretaker stated. "A woman," the leader said. "Is that all?" The leader was starting to get a little annoyed and frustrated. "I don't know. She appears poor, and I would guess she's married. How would I know?" The caretaker was patient and stated again, "What do you see?" "I have no idea," he said. "Why would you even bring this woman up here? She's nobody, just a peasant woman. She can't have done much in her life. There really isn't much of a comparison here. I've dedicated my life to my people. I've sacrificed my time and my money to lead them." The caretaker then thanked the woman and whispered something, and she returned to the crowd. "What was that all about?" the leader stated with some anger. The caretaker returned to the mirror, which had reverted back to the leader's vision. "Tell me what you see," the caretaker stated. By now, the leader was completely frustrated. "You know what I see. What I want to know is, what does it mean?" he growled. The caretaker remained patient and calm and then stated, "You know the answer, but you are unable to accept it. The mirror doesn't show what the outside world sees. It looks upon the heart. Yes, you have accomplished much, but it has not enlarged your heart, your capacity for love and compassion, for forgiveness and gratitude. It has not provided for your betterment or for those around you. Sure, it has provided means to help others, but you use that to build your own personal ego. What you have created on the inside is what you are seeing." The leader was embarrassed and furious. "Stupid mirror. I know who I am. I know what I've done. This mirror's worthless. I've done great things. My people adore me. This mirror just doesn't get it." The caretaker waited patiently for the leader to finish his emotional rant and then said, "Yes, you have, but this mirror does not show what the world sees. It shows what would be if your influence was removed. If you did not have your power and position, what would you be? The same is true for this young woman whose power and influence is limited only by this world and her humble position. You have seen who you truly are." The caretaker then walked away to his seat. The leader stood dumbfounded, and the crowd slowly drifted away. However, the young woman remained in the crowd. When all had left, and the caretaker came to move the mirror, the young woman was standing in tears, gazing into the mirror. When she realized that the caretaker was standing next to her, she quietly asked the caretaker in a whisper, "Why me? Why did you choose me?" The caretaker smiled and simply said, "I know the mirror, and I knew your heart. But I have never done anything. Why would the mirror show me that valley and mansion? I'm poor. I barely make ends meet. I don't have a child. I don't have any great talents or even a husband. I'm divorced from my first husband, and I'm so sick so often that I receive more charity than I give. How can this be? I have nothing. Who are these people?" The wise caretaker looked knowingly at her. "Who do you think they are?" he asked. She looked dumbfounded at him. "I don't know. They do seem familiar, and a couple of them, I admit, are my family, but I don't recognize most of them. Who are they?" Then, without waiting, she asked, "And why am I in a mansion and surrounded by so much beauty and happiness? This is not my life." The woman was almost in tears as she stated those last words. The caretaker waited for a moment, then pointed to the mirror. "Look again. What do you see?" The woman watched as the mirror panned out even further and revealed that the valley was actually full of people and animals, houses and gardens, and a happiness she had never before experienced. And she could feel her happiness in the vision. Never before had she felt such happiness in her life. "But I don't understand. This isn't my life. This isn't even close to my life. Why would it show me this? Aren't I miserable enough? Why would this mirror show me something that doesn't look right, make me feel something that I don't, and is simply so far out of my reach I can't even imagine it? Why would it show me this?" The woman had now turned away from the mirror with her face in her hands. The wise caretaker, who had seen many visions, put his arm on her shoulder and said, "Why isn't this you?" Without removing her face from her hands, the woman said, "Look at me. You live here. You know my life. You know my children who are grown. You have seen me suffer with this illness for so long. You have watched me grow from the time I came into this town. How can you not see what I am seeing?" The caretaker said, "Yes, I have seen you. I have seen your compassion when you had nothing else to give. You held a stranger when your own heart was breaking. You have comforted a child as you suffered in deep pain. You have allowed others to serve you. You have children who see the world as you do, with compassion, forgiveness, and love. I have seen you on your knees more than anyone in this village. You don't seek out individuals for help because they come to you. You have a natural talent for being in the right place at the right time when someone needs your help desperately. You must understand the mirror. It doesn't possess the ability to see you through the eyes of this world. It shows you without the limitations of this world. It shows you as you truly are, not as the world sees you or measures your efforts. Those illnesses, those things that you think make you so weak, are exactly what has created this vision in the mirror." The woman did not speak for some time. She had turned and was now staring at the mirror again. "Thank you," she said. "You know, I wasn't going to come today. I wasn't interested. I had just walked through one of the worst weeks of my life. I could barely get out of bed this morning, and things didn't get any better from that moment. Until now. I didn't feel like anyone cared. I happened to walk in just for a moment because my grown daughter had come and I needed to talk to her." "Can I ask you just one question?" she said. The caretaker nodded. "Who are the people?" she asked. The caretaker smiled. "They are people, past, present, and future, whom you will influence for good. Each of them has a story that contributes to this vision. You see, the vision is about you through the eyes of those people in the vision. That is how they see you, and that is the influence you have in their lives." They both stood there for a moment, silently. "Thank you," she said almost apologetically. The caretaker just smiled and nodded. And with those words, and one last look into the mirror, the woman smiled for the first time in many years, and walked to the courtyard entrance, but this time not with her head looking at the ground. May the Lord bless you and help you to see the true vision of who you are. You see, mental illness will rob you of this vision. It will take you down into the depths of despair, thinking you will never be good enough, never be true enough, that you will never be enough. But the truth is, in the mirror, that which you are passing through, if seen through the visions of the mirror, will become what it truly is. It is learning experiences that teach and nurture the soul into celestial life. May you see yourself as the caretaker truly sees you. Until next week, do your part so that the Lord can do his.